All right, I'll be reviewing 4 tickers today. One is YELP, YELP. The other one is JMIA, CHWY, CHWY, DKNG. All of them are longs. YELP is from Friday. I got the sticker from. Hold on. All right, so I'll be reviewing YELP at first. So this trade was from Jimbo. He took a long based off morning report at 25.90. So so I can say one thing, right? So when Adriano posts his morning report, he normally does it by around 9 o'clock in the morning, right? So Eastern time. So that's 6 a.m. here in Pacific time. So he's looking at 25.90 as an extension. So probably from a drop from here, he's probably thinking this is a starter position, or this is where he can start his long. So but it's upon us to always look where is it exactly opening from. So if you had seen this like a minute before the open, so normally that's how I send my orders to the exchange. That's just like a minute before the open. So I have everything ready, but I send my orders a minute before. So if I had, let's say if I wanted to take this trade at 25.90 and I see this this drop here, and I see it's opening right where I wanted to long it. So it's this, in this case it's opening at 26.26. That's about 30 cents from where I wanted to long it, right? So I just skip it. I will not take that trade and then start looking for next levels. Okay, so in this case, in the morning I was looking at YELP. I did not see this drop, but I was thinking of longing it around 24. I did have an order at 24s, but I did not take that. I canceled that order and I did not take the trade at 24s. I did take it at 22.86, around 22.86. Why did I cancel that order? So this small wash here kind of based around. It was not a strong base, but it still based around, right? And when it broke that base, it still suggested that there is selling going on. So I thought, okay, 24 may be too early, so let me have my position at around 22.70. But then I changed my mind. Okay, 22.70. Let me go start off here. Probably get my like a quarter position here, and then probably add some here when it washes through that pivot. So my point here is, whenever it bases like this, I kind of avoid taking a trade right after that, because there may be still some more selling going on. So that's the reason why I skipped from there. I skipped longing it from 24 level. Okay, coming back to your long at 25.90, when you all there are times even this happens to me, like kind of I miss seeing such move before it opens, and I have an open order at a particular level. When I see, when I get filled and I see that the action is what I am not, this is not supposed to be happening, I jump out right away. I don't give any time to it. Even if it's a loss, let it be a small loss than be a bigger loss. So I normally jump out as soon as I realize there was no extension and the stock is actually opening close to my interested level. Okay, so keep that in mind, and always always make sure that you only take trades that has extensions in them, and extension that is continuous, not something that bases like this. This is very true when it comes to longs, because to break a base, it does not take much. It does not need much volume to break. But the other way around, like let's say if we flip this around, let's say this, I'll put a minus sign and take this as a short position, right? So if I see this, okay, if I see this and I was thinking of taking a shot here, I'll probably still go and take a shot here and really think about adding like a lot more at here, because this is a stack up and it's a pretty good conviction there. Okay, so it really works differently with shorts, but with longs, when it bases and it breaks, you need to be really careful about it. So this wash, let's say there was nothing here to take a long. For sure there was nothing here to take a long. Let's say if there was a pivot here, and let's say if there was a stacked up pivot here, and this wash is about a dollar wash, right? And I took my long and it kind of just touched the VWAP and breaks the VWAP, sorry, and comes back and breaks the lows, I still get out, because it is breaking a base and I don't want anything to do with it anymore. So I'll probably like wait for the next conviction level, that in this case was at this stack up, and I forget about all this trade, because I would have made around like 40 to 50 cent on this particular trade. So coming back to my trade, I took this around 22.86. I sold most of it around VWAP, I think around 23.68, and then held on few to sell at around 23.95 or somewhere there. I missed my sell by about 5 cents, I'm guessing, but I ended up, like, as soon as it broke the VWAP, I just took it off. So it was like around 80 cent trade. That was good enough for me. I'm not much of a long guy. My patience with longs are not like pretty good, so I end up taking profits pretty quickly. So that's the YELP trade, the review on the YELP trade. Let's move to JMIA. Okay. So this again is from Jimbo. He took a long at 1935 at 9:49 a.m. So 1935 is somewhere here. Okay, so this is another trade that I would have completely avoided, even though there was a previous close and monthly pivot close by. This is something that I would have clearly avoided. Reasons is this. So you see there's a pre-market base that's around 1960s, and if you see that exact same level kind of based after the open too. Okay, so just the way it was with YELP, once the base breaks, there is a lot more selling happening. Okay, so it broke the base, it did not care about those stack up of levels, it just continued selling. So I have this level from I guess from 3-4 days back. I don't know what it is. I have to go back and look at it. So it kind of bounced from there and continued going higher. So overall, this was a clear avoid. You see something like this. So let me zoom in what I mean by that. Let me zoom that. So you see this, it tested here once and bounced from there, a slight bounce, and it tested again, and it actually had a pretty good bounce from there. Then at open, it washed to that level, the same base level from pre-market, bounced to the VWAP, failed the VWAP, came back and based again, did a small bounce to VWAP again, and it failed there, and it started crashing down. So it did not care about previous close level. It continued. It did a big wash here from 1920s to around 1820. So it did a dollar wash there. Okay. So you always have to wait for a continuous wash. Ignore the ones which you see, like we ignore the levels, like close by levels, when you see something like this happening right before that, right before those levels. Okay, so you need something like this, like this and this. So if this happened here in one shot, there was definitely a, like at least a 70 to 80 cent trade. But because of this, it was not a valid trade at all, at least from my point of view. I mean, I whenever I say it was not valid, I do refer to what I see, like how I normally trade. Okay, so yeah, so overall the entry was very important, and in this case the entry was not valid at all. The 1935 was not valid at all. All right, moving on to CHWY, CHWY. Okay. All right, why is it going here and there? So you had entry at 54.50 at 9:52 a.m. 54.50 somewhere here. Okay, so this is me, right? So again, like it had kind of had a base. It broke through that base. It came through the previous close level. The yellow marker is the previous close. So the blue one is monthly pivot and the orange one is the quarterly pivot. All right, so look at this drop and see around where is your profit taking, like which area do you normally think as profiting. So if it was me, let's say if I took a long here at around 54.40, my immediate area of interest to sell is at 5-minute 20 or at VWAP or previous close, or like whichever like comes first, right? So I just had around 50 cent on that trade, normally lesser than that, and you have stack up of 5-minute 20 going through, you have VWAP going through, and you have previous close. So my chances of getting more than that is so ridiculously small. I lack interest in taking this long. Okay, so I'm not saying you did not take a right trade here, but you also need to see how much do you think you can make from this trade. Okay, particularly when it based something like this and it broke below that level, had no regards to the previous close level, and it just came down. Okay, so for me that's something that I avoid, purely based on how much I think profit I can make from this trade. So that's one thing. So how would I, let's say if I took this trade with you, right, 54.40, how would I take my stop? It looks like you took your stop at around 54.18. So 54.18 is like low of this candle, right? That's exactly how I would have stopped out too. But consider this, I would have not taken this trade at all. I would have taken a trade which has a extension for, let's say, from here to here, like this level, like previous close level at least. Then stopping out, having a stop makes a lot more sense, because my chances are already like, chances of getting a good win on this trade is already pretty big. Okay, so that's how I normally place my stops, right below this big candles, right low of those candles, and forget about what it is doing after I take the trade until I get stopped out or I take my profits. Okay, so that's the review on CHWY. So I know it's a lot to take in, so hear this out like couple of times, probably you get the concept, what kind of trades to avoid and what to see in the charts before you take the trade. All right, let me know if you have any questions on this particular chart. Moving on, DKNG, DraftKings. Okay, DraftKings, you took long at around 32.11 at 10 a.m. 32.11. Okay, that was before this quarterly pivot. Somewhere here. Okay, so this was an okay trade. You saw there is a quarterly pivot here on the intraday, and you saw that, and you took the trade. but I think you took the long a little earlier than you should have. It was me. I mean, I know Adriano, Dan normally take their trades a little like 20 cents before, but this is me, particularly on longs. Again, shorts are different with me, like and I don't care if I give like 20-30 cent. I jump in early, and if I see a pretty good spike, I'll jump in early. I don't really mind about paying a little bit ahead. But longs for me is I always believe that there is a lot more room for a wash than I always anticipate. Even with my, let's say if I entered precisely at quarterly pivot, I'll still think, okay, it's gonna go much lower than that quarterly pivot. So that's normally how I think, and normally my entries will be around like 10 cents or 5 cents higher than those pivots. Okay, so the entry was not at all a problem, but in your case the entry was not at all a problem. So I mean the level was not at all a problem. You could have waited a little bit more, so that you could have gotten a better average, but that's okay. Okay, so that being said, I'm pretty sure you could not take your profits because you did not touch the VWAP or any other indicators for that matter. So let's see. Okay, you took profit. Okay, you took 10% profit at 1 minute 20. So let's see, where is 1 minute 20. Okay, that's about 20 cents. All right. So yeah, so around 30 to 40, somewhere there. Then you stopped out around 31.59. 31.59. So yeah, around like once the low broke, you probably stopped out somewhere here. That was not a bad stop at all. But here is the thing, right? I have said this so many times. You always have to look at the daily and figure out where it is sitting at the daily level. So if you see this level here, this is a base, right? We all know what happens when base breaks. It continues to wash. So I was not watching DKNG. It was not in my watch list either. So if I had seen this and I saw this wash and I was seeing this, I'll right away think, okay, so it is kind of cracking the base right now. Base is nothing but support, so it is cracking the base right now. I don't see a setup here, even though there is it's a valid trade on the intraday and everything. I see this and I say to myself, no, there is a big chance that it's going to continue selling off. Then if I'm still interested in the stock, I'll look at this level. So why is this level important? So we don't not only have a pivot there, we also have a previous low at this level. So there is a bigger chance of a bounce here and probably a better conviction trade here. So I'll probably place a trade here and wait for it to take me out. That's how I would have seen. Like, it's very, very, very important that you look at dailies. How daily is how it is forming on the daily level. If you would have seen that, you could have probably avoided this trade. I'm not saying there was not a 30-40 cent bounce on it, but I mean looking and going back and looking at how the daily chart looks, I would have always felt there is a lot more selling going on, and okay, let me wait for the next levels. You see that I normally don't keep weekly pivots at all. I don't have a weekly pivot on my 5-minute chart because it's a lot more distraction to me. So I would have just looked at this and I said, okay, 27.66, okay, probably 27.80 I'll long. I'm very well knowing that it may never happen. Okay, so that kind of tells me that I have zero interest on this stock. Okay, so yeah, that's about DKNG, and